In this review we're going back in time to look at an historic truck. It is the Italian Iveco TurboStar, and this model is made by ZetaKit. It's the built up version and it's also available in kit form, and it's in the scale of 1:43. The model is distributed by the Italian dealer Model Maris, and the box has some information about ZetaKit, and there's also a genuine Iveco licensed product badge. As you might have guessed, this model is made of resin, so the box weighs 1 pound 6 ounces, or about 640 grams. Let's get on and open it up and get the model out. The model's a tight fit, so we'll use the push technique, and then you can see that it comes in a display case. It has been taped together for shipping, so we'll undo that and then remove the perspex top. And once we manage to lift that off, there's also a plastic former inside. But don't worry, this truck has not been driven into a concrete barrier. There's just some additional foam protection that we need to take off. Once we've peeled the last bits of tape off, we can add the perspex top back on, and it forms a nice airtight seal. Let's weigh it again without the packaging, and it's 1 pound 2 ounces, or just over 500 grams. We'll start by looking at the display case, and the perspex is quite thick and of good quality. The display base is made of plastic. It is possible to remove the model by undoing 2 screws that are underneath, so let's get on and do that. And while we're waiting, we can look back at a bit of the history of the Iveco TurboStar. And it was mainly built in Italy between the years of 1984 and 1993. Having removed the model, there's still a plastic spacer underneath, and that seems to be glued on. And that's a pity. As a resin model, it's not heavy, and it weighs 5 ounces, and that's only 145 grams. Looking underneath, there's no steering detail, and the front leaf springs are crude. There is a decent tread pattern on the tyres, and the rear transmission and suspension is modelled. But the big spacer spoils the underneath view. Things are much better on top with a nice metallic finish paint on the cab, and the big aerodynamic fairing is captured well. The model has windscreen wipers, and there's some decent detailing of the main grille, and that includes a nicely rendered TurboStar badge. There's a hitch point at the front, and the big lights fit into the big bumper. On the driver's side there are a pair of large air horns, and the door mirrors are nice and thin. There's some decent graphics, and the wheel arch is modelled well enough. There's a very faint Iveco branding above the step, and there's also a faint rendition of branding on the tyres. Looking behind the cab, and the main components are modelled, and the wheels have highlighted hubs. There's some good looking detail on the back of the cab, and there's also a textured walkway at the bottom. Looking at the rear end, and the lights have plastic lenses, and the mud flaps have a chevron decoration. On the other side there's a large fuel tank, and it would have been nice if the filler caps had been highlighted. And looking at the fifth wheel, there is a hole in the centre. Although this is a resin model, there is some functionality, and that's provided by just having simple axles so that the wheels rotate. And out on the cranes etc. superhighway, the Iveco is happy to go in a straight line. This is a highly limited edition model of only 60 pieces made, and the chosen scale of 1:43 was decided by Iveco. The limited status does mean that it is an expensive model, but overall this model of a classic Iveco truck has enough going for it to be rated as good.